A search for answers and accountability after the deadly Texas floods.
This will be ongoing through the interim and through the next session and probably beyond that.
A hearing in the heart of the flood zone reveals new information about that day.
The 3 guys in Kerr County who were responsible for sounding the alarm were effectively unavailable.
The marathon meeting and the work ahead to find ways to protect Texans from future disasters.
Are you calling them for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next week?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats.
President Trump pushing Texas lawmakers to redraw voting lines to help Republicans get more seats in Congress. It could push Democrats to take drastic steps to block the plan.
But I will say that, for instance, a quorum break, that is a procedural tool that legislators have within our pocket to use to represent our constituents.
We look closer at the maps that could reshape Texas politics and the battle to come over drawing the lines.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Members of the Texas Joint Committee on Disaster Preparedness traveled to Kerrville on Thursday. They heard hours of testimony about the response to the deadly floods and the aftermath. Kerr County leaders in particular faced scrutiny over their handling of the July 4th flooding. Investigator Matt Grant has been digging into the preparedness and has more about what lawmakers had to say.
Pointed comments in a packed hearing.
Everyone was here that day working their ass off, and you were nowhere to be found.
Many at Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly and at the Upper Guadalupe River Authority, its director telling lawmakers flood sirens were never installed and its 8 taxpayer-funded river gauges aren't locally monitored, with data instead collected by the National Weather Service.
I would say that you should be in the business of protecting people from the things that are going on in the river.
And at Kerr County Emergency Management Coordinator W.B. Thomas, who said he was sick and asleep. Sheriff Larry Latha, who said he didn't wake up until after people were already trapped on roofs. And Judge Kelly, who said he was out of town.
What was the issue? Why that evacuation order wasn't issued?
It was too late. It was too late.
During more than 3 hours of testimony, it was revealed there are no records of communication with Camp Mystic, where at least 27 campers and counselors died, and a code red mobile alert requested at 4:22 a.m., Latha said, wasn't issued until almost 40 minutes later, with dispatchers, quote, overwhelmed.
The 3 guys in Kerr County who were responsible for sounding the alarm were effectively unavailable.
And we had our own questions for Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring after records we obtained showed he never saw emails from the Texas Division of Emergency Management asking him to join a weather preparation call the day before the flood.
Do I wish I had seen that email? I do. But even if I had seen it, I don't know that it would have prepared me for the event that followed.
For state lawmakers, this hearing was about seeking solutions, including warning sirens and upgrading communications equipment.
There were so many lives lost here, so I'm interested in looking at the entire process.
But local leaders pushed back, saying the storm's ferocity wasn't forecasted and the devastation unavoidable.
What, if anything, do you wish you had done differently?
Well, I wish I had superhuman powers to see the future.
Matt joins us now. You've been digging deeper into the preparation for the floods and the response. That included emails and texts sent by Kerrville's mayor before the flood. What did you find there?
Yeah, so Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring was emailing the day before the flood, and it really was, as we've mentioned, just business as usual. He was communicating about a new golf resort. He was communicating about certain trees that were being planted. This really was just routine order of business preparations the day before. Very little, if anything, that we could find about flood preparations or about the weather. And of course, there were those TDEM emails, 2 of them that we found that were sent to him, telling him that he should join this weather call the day before the flood. The mayor tells us he never saw those emails. He wished he did, but ultimately he doesn't think that it would have made a difference because the warning levels and the the catastrophic flood, it wasn't there ahead of time, and so he doesn't think it would have made a difference.
So lawmakers had several questions for the director of the Upper Guadalupe River Authority about systems to monitor river levels. How do those play into the flood response?
Well, short answer, Josh, is it really didn't. Dr. William Rector is the director of the River Authority. He told lawmakers that there are 8 river gauges in Kirk County, but they're not monitored locally. That these gauges, instead, the data is sent to the National Weather Service and it's collected by them. And that's something now that could change. Also, the future of the UGRA, which was established in 1939, that's also in question. One other thing about Dr. Rector, he's a medical doctor. This is not an elected position. He's appointed by the governor, and so voters can't vote him out if they're unhappy with the way he's doing his job.
This hearing was about seeking solutions. What kind of changes are lawmakers considering?
Yeah, and lawmakers have said over and over again, this is really ultimately not about finger pointing, but it's about finding solutions. And before the hearing began, I spoke with Representative A.J. Louderback, and he reiterated that. He said that there's a number of things to look at. Among them is the communication both during the disaster and beforehand. That goes back to the mayor missing those emails from Tatum. Basically, how do you ensure that the people who need this critical information get it ahead of time and that they're actually seeing these messages? He also called for ways to better improve measuring rainfall and rising water. But ultimately, Representative Louderback emphasized that there's not just one thing to look at. The entire process and parts of the entire process really needs to change, and lawmakers stress that it's not just going to be at this special session, but the next legislative session and the one after that. This is going to be an issue that's going to be affecting the state, Josh, for years.
We'll certainly be hearing about it for a while, I'm sure.
We will, yeah.
Thank you very much, Matt. The hearing in Kerrville lasted more than 13 hours, and during that time, lawmakers heard from several people who shared personal stories about how the floods changed their lives. The testimony raised questions about the response before and after the floods. Capitol correspondent Adam Schwager was there for the hearing and reports on how people who testified say more needs to be done to help those recovering from the tragedy.
Almost a month to the day from the Independence Day floods, there's still so many first responders here, not just in Kerrville, but in Kirk County and throughout the Hill Country. And now lawmakers are listening to exactly what the people still need after this long month.
Those of us impacted by this catastrophe are not asking for handouts. We're asking for a functioning government.
Kylie Nedever lives in one of the only 5 homes in Bumblebee Hills untouched by the floods and says her community has been left behind by the state of Texas.
We need knowledgeable officials, debris removal, housing support, and mental health care.
Her neighbor in Bumblebee Hills wasn't as lucky.
My husband opened the door and the river raged and ran through the front and the back door and took all of our belongings with it.
Rosa Toller says she now has black mold issues from the flood, as her goddaughter accused first responders of not showing up to the ravaged Bumblebee Hills the first weekend.
Because they were not involved in the missing, they were forced to sit there and watch mold go up their walls.
And while residents like Toller will need long-term physical health assistance, almost everyone involved in the floods will likely need some form of mental health assistance after what they experienced.
Based off of the information from someone who testified earlier, I can without a doubt say that we recovered some of her family members.
And while lawmakers are still trying to figure out exactly what happened,
Bumblebee Hills has I don't want to say forgotten, I don't mean it that way, but has been left out of where a lot of work is being done right now, so we're trying to find answers for that.
They're looking towards the remainder of special session to see what they can do next.
Now the work begins. Let's get our bills drafted and try to get them over the finish line in the next 2 weeks.
The 30-day special session is set to expire on August 20th. In Kerrville, I'm Adam Schwager.
Governor Abbott vetoed a bill to ban hemp-derived THC, calling on lawmakers to find ways to regulate those products. But senators are doubling down on the ban.
Regulation is decriminalization. Whether you admit it or not, the practicality of enforcement effectively does decriminalize.
The new battle over banning THC and the plans some lawmakers have to change how the state handles cannabis. Republicans reveal the plan to redraw voting lines in Texas. Redistricting could give the GOP 5 new seats in Congress. Reaction to the map and how it could spark what some are calling the nuclear option for Texas Democrats.